right, g'day everybody and welcome back to Risky Rollers. Joining us here for round 2 of the Victorian State Championships 2024 for the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG.
We have Oliver, not that deck.
So we have our two competitors. We have Ryan Nelson and Oliver Karaliamis.
Karaliamis? I'm not sure.
I'm reading it and probably pronouncing it incorrectly.
We're very sorry about that.
He can butcher us for it later.
So on our right, we have Ryan Nelson playing a Snake Eye deck.
Let me pull straight into that.
Oh, yeah.
This one here.
Oops,
There we go.
On our right, we have Ryan Nelson playing a Snake Eye deck.
We do have the timer running straight away because they are getting right into it.
Yep. And on our left, as you can see, we have Oliver on Voiceless Voice. And one of the pretty good picks this format. Got a new spell card. Very good. I can bring that one up right now. Blessings of the Voiceless Voice.
Extremely powerful for the deck.
Yep.
You used to have 2 ways for ritual summoning. You wouldn't use the ritual spell most of the time. You would have to use the Saphira. But now having this continuous spell that can trigger during your opponent's turn as well is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Summoning that Soravis back as well sometimes, which is insane.
Up to
you've
3
bounced.
times a turn.
Yeah.
It's really
That's
strong.
wild, yeah.
That card you'd think only for targeting protection in your real janky decks has definitely found a place in this new deck.
Anyway, so to start off, Oliver seems to have won the dice roll. We're going to start off with a Pot of Prosperity, searching that pre-preparation of rites, which is now going to be activated, and searching us the prayers of the Voiceless Voice, and a Soravis, the Ancient and Ascended, which I can pull up right now.
Nice old OG card there.
There we go. From 2014, I think.
Yeah.
Dual Styles?
Oh, I don't know if it's that one.
Or it might be. Roll down a little bit. I can't see.
That's all right.
But yeah, very powerful card. Targeting protection. It's going to be able to protect this Diviner of the Herald that's just been normal summoned, activating its effect to dump a fairy from the deck or extra deck to the graveyard, and then gain its level. Ryan is going to decide to not do anything with that one, and going to allow him to dump probably the Trius Haraka, the deck to the graveyard.
Knowing that his opponent already has the Soravis in hand, obviously lessens the power a little bit there.
Yeah.
But still extremely powerful.
Makes it a lot harder to interact with.
Absolutely.
So we're going to send this Trius, and we're going to think a bit. We're going to activate the Trius effect, tributing the Diviner for cost, and in a new chain that's going to allow Diviner to activate to summon a level 2 or lower light fairy. Fairy from the deck.
Fairy, yes.
Which is obviously, in this matchup, going to be the prayers of the Voiceless Voice. It's going to summon in defense, 2050 defense, level 1 light fairy, going to search the barrier.
Place the barrier.
Place the barrier, sorry, yeah.
Even more
Cannot be
powerful,
ashed, yeah.
playing around the draws as well. And here comes the Ogre on the barrier as well.
So the
and
barrier would have searched a Voiceless Voice card here, except itself. But, yep, Ogre onto a continuous spell is obviously going to make it not resolve, or resolve without effect.
Ogre, a very powerful card, this format.
Yeah.
Being able to hit Voiceless Voice as well as Templar Dragon as well. And also just being a really awkward card to hit a lot of things.
Yeah. So we're going to activate another barrier, which won't be able to activate its effect this turn, but, you know, it's a good card to have on the field, especially when you have a low and a light ritual monster. It gives all your lights targeting protection that turn, and it means your opponent can only attack into ritual monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to
Activate the ritual spell
activate
now.
the ritual spell. Praise of the Voiceless Voice, tributing the low,
Just for
summoning.
that full cost, being able to bring that Soravis out onto the field.
Very powerful. Anyway, when low is used as tribute fodder for a ritual summon of a light ritual monster, warrior or dragon, it is allowed to bring itself back from the graveyard, which is very good. So we're going to summon the Soravis, which is a negate and a banish of a summon that does not start a chain link, or a special summon that does not start a chain link. Something like Black Witch or a link summon. It bounces itself to the hand and then banishes that monster that would have been summoned. As we can see, I'll bring it up again. Just thinking of our next plays here. I have a couple things we might want to do. We're going to activate the Old Man Soravis. This is the new version of Soravis. This one is going to shuffle back 2 spells, including a ritual spell from the graveyard, to summon itself from the hand. Inherent summon.
Yes.
Yes. And while that's on the field, when Oliver's opponent, Ryan in this case, would activate a card effect, it can return itself to the hand and then summon a light ritual monster that is a warrior or a dragon from the deck directly. It is not counted as a ritual summon, but can still summon the ritual monster.
being able to bring that Skull Guardian out from the deck is extremely important here, since he hasn't been able to get access because of the Ogre.
Yeah.
And we can see he passes turn here with a what you would seem to be a pretty unassuming board.
Quite powerful though. Very scary board almost. Not to forget that Trius that is in the bottom of our screen. Hard to tell what that is with the glare, but that's okay.
It's alright, vibing there.
Just a Trius. When that one leaves the field, it is going to be banished by its own effects. Ryan going to start off with a special summon of Unicorn. Oliver's going to attempt to use the Saurabus here, but it's not going to be able to activate. So the non-ritual Saurabus. Ryan's going to activate the effect of Unicorn, which is going to be responded to with the Saurabus. Summoning a light ritual monster from the deck, which is probably, I want to say, going to be Skull Guardian.
Here we go.
There we go. Now, Skull Guardian, while low is on the field, is able to be an Omni Negate. Any card Ryan chooses to activate. And while low is on the field or in the graveyard, it gains double the attack. So it is currently 4,100 attack, which is a very big monster.
Extremely big, especially against Kashtira, where it doesn't have to be worried about being targeted as well.
Due to that barrier on the field, yeah.
The Fenrir is definitely not going to be able to contest it. Obviously, we don't have the Fenrir right now, but we can presume it might be on the field a little bit later.
So this Unicorn effect, that because Oliver activated a monster effect, Unicorn is going to be able to, in a new chain, look through Oliver's extra deck, which is really, really strong, being able to gain all that information, and then banish one card face down, of which I think it was the SP.
It was indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
That is, yeah, nice.
Very strong cards. Banishing face down is it's probably the best kind of removal in the game.
Very ignorant game mechanic, especially from Kashtira.
Going to see the original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye from Ryan, sending that Unicorn to the graveyard to summon out a level 1 fire monster. Might be Snake Eye Ash. We'll see what it is in a second.
Now, Ryan is definitely known for playing some wild
Some
sets.
wacky things.
That's what I love. I've gotten him on the stream just for that reason, hoping it's not just Snake Eyes Kashtira.
Yeah, hopefully there's something interesting in here. But Ryan, looking at the Poplar and the Ash, and he's going to choose the Snake Eye Ash to summon from the deck. Now, Ash is going to be able to activate and search, on summon, search another level 1 fire monster. But Oliver does have a chance to respond here with that Skull Guardian or something in his hand, maybe. So we'll see if that goes through. Ryan has 4 cards in his hand. Oliver just checking that. We're going to Skull Guardian the Ash. So that's a pretty good play. Snake Eye Ash is a 1-card full combo for the Snake Eye deck, so shutting that down as early as possible is pretty good. And activate that Kashtira Birth. Be able to summon back that Unicorn, or additionally, we can normal summon a level 7 monster, including Diabellstar's Black Witch. Yeah. It's going to be hit with Oliver's own Ghost Ogre there. A lot of Ghost Ogres being activated right now.
Again, it's an extremely powerful card.
Yeah.
And we can see that Ryan has actually scooped after that.
Yeah. Revealing that Imperm, which wasn't able to do much because of that Saurabus in the hand. So a bit of a quick game 1 there.
Game 1 going to Oliver.
But now, obviously, Ryan knows what his opponent is playing. Can sideboard some, again, ignorant cards, maybe Dimensional Barrier to stop all the ritual summons.
Maybe some Cosmic Cyclones, things like that for the Barrier and the Blessing, which, while we're here, we might go over that card. This is a new card for the Voiceless Voice strategy out of Legacy of Destruction. Another continuous spell. This one is really powerful. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
Do you want to go over it, Dustin?
Being able to target any of your voiceless cards that are banished on your graveyard and add it back to your hand, meaning you add that Saphira back to your hand, obviously, that you've used to dump both itself and the ritual spell, meaning that you can ritual summon. It gives you free bodies as well. And then during your opponent's turn, if a non-ritual monster is normal or special summoned, you can actually ritual summon for a light ritual monster by attributing monsters, obviously, from your hand or field, using that lower again, which can bring itself back up when you have attributed it for a ritual summon. Most of the time, it's summoning the Saurabus back that you've bounced, meaning that you can stop 2 inherent summons and you still have the targeting negation when it goes back to your hand. Again, very, very powerful, especially protecting it by battle. I don't know a lot of things that will be able to crash over 2800 or 2k, depending where you summon it, but obviously it can still be relevant.
But yeah, Blessing of the Voiceless Voice, a very powerful new card that I think pushes that deck into, a bit more of a competitive status. I felt as though with the original wave of support, this deck was It could compete, but it wasn't very strong. But I think this card gives it an near infinite grind game and a lot of power, going first with summoning that Soravis multiple times.
It's almost in... I always want to say archetype there, but it means something different here. In type of deck it wants to play, it's almost the opposite to Tenpire, which is this instant one turn, I'm going to go massive and kill you, to let's actually play a few turns, let's grind this out. Let's attrition you down, burn through your cards, use up your advantage, and then get the win out of it there.
Yeah,
it's a really interesting state of the meta to see changing over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. That's not to say Voiceless Voice can't OTK though. Obviously, Skull Guardian is a very big monster when low is on the field or in the grave, 4100. You can bring out multiple of those, use your continuous trap card to pop 2, 3 cards your opponent controls, and then just swing in for lethal with those 2 4100 bodies. Or, you could do some link plays. There's Voiceless Voice plays Access Code, Chaos Angel, another very big monster.
Has a lot of room as well in the extra deck and the main deck. We saw that Connor at YCS Sydney, who came first after Swiss, playing Voiceless Voice, was also playing Branded Fusion for Dragoon, a very powerful card. But we can see here now that Ryan is elected to go first and starting with that Kashtira Unicorn, most likely searching for that birth.
As we get started, shout out to Freedom Z77 in the chat. Live stream is so chill, love it. Thank you, mate. We're having a great time here.
Yeah. So Ryan got to search that Kashtira birth after summoning the Unicorn in defense position.
Kashtira birth, a very, again, ignorant card, I like to say. Back when I was playing Sky Striker for a little bit, I didn't like all my rays and everything being banished, but that's all right.
So Ryan sending the Snake Eye Diabellstar to summon Diabellstar the Black Witch here. Going to be setting probably an original Sinful Spoils from the deck, unless he's already opened one, in which case he'll probably set a wanted Seeker of the Sinful Spoils, but it is going to be that original Sinful Spoils. Now he's going to be able to activate that, send a face-up card from his field to the graveyard, and summon a level 1 fire from the deck. Yep, going to activate it, sending the Black Witch, attempting to summon a level 1 fire from the deck. Any level 1 fire from the deck, my personal favorite is probably Flambeau Guard.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Volcanic Shell's also one of the good favorites.
Volcanic Shell is one that Ryan has definitely used before in a couple of his decks. A lot of advantage adding cards to your hand. Anyway, we're going to summon that Snake Eye Ash. Searching another level 1 fire. Bit of a choke point for Oliver to interact with. Maybe an infinite impermanence can come down here, or an effect veiler. Something like that. Going to use the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring to put a stop to the search, but most notably not negating the entire effect. So Ryan can still send Snake Eye Ash and another face-up card from his field to summon a Snake Eye monster from the deck. Ryan's just going to have a little bit of a think here, go through his grave, make sure he knows exactly what he's got in his deck. Just pondering the situation, hitting the famous pose. Hand, think about his deck, think about his grave, think about what's in his opponent's hand. There's so many things to think about in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! It creates very intricate game states.
Yeah. I find Yu-Gi-Oh! Is definitely a lot more complicated than other TCGs that I've been delving into recently. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot for that reason. I think it gives that, absolutely, that appeal for it.
Yeah. Ryan's still thinking here, or maybe Oliver's thinking too, if he wants to do anything on res. Ryan going to commit to a link to Heater here. Yep. Fire Charmer Ablaze. Going to be able to summon Oliver's Ash Blossom to his field. Zone at points 2. Which can probably be used as the summon of a Promethean Princess. Maybe we'll see that coming in a bit. Bring that up if he summons it. See it in a bit, maybe. I'm going to commit to a Link summon. Link 2 or 3.
Yep, we've seen that
There we
princess.
bring out that princess. Now this is another very, 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 very powerful card.
Being able to summon any fire back from the graveyard, as well as summoning it back every single turn if your opponent decides to summon it as an interruption, is quite an insane power level of a card, to be honest.
Yep, now it's important to note that it does lock you into fire monsters while it's on the field, but in a deck that's full of primarily fire monsters, it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, Ryan...
Especially when it's just sent
for... sent for Snake Eye Ash, which is going to bring out Snake Eye Oak. Now Oak is going to bring out Ash again from the graveyard. We can see Snake Eye really having the ability to put up so many bodies on the field very, very easily. Kashtira both now going to bring out Kashtira Unicorn, again in defense position, and again in that exact same zone it was in. Now Snake Eye Oak going to send the Kashtira Birth after it was used, so getting so much advantage out of these cards to bring out another Snake Eye monster from the deck.
Multiple choices that he can go for here. I think going for the Flame Burst,
yep,
the best one here.
Very powerful monster, as we saw earlier.
Oliver there taking the time to read the card.
Yep, you want to make sure you know exactly what your opponent's cards do at all times. You can't always trust them. Ryan's a pretty trustworthy person. But, you know, you want to make sure what it does so you know how to interact with it. So the graveyard effect of Flambush, very powerful. Going to be able to summon 2 level 1 fires back if it goes to the graveyard this turn, which probably will.
It probably will.
Yep. Maybe for a link summon. Unfortunate that we already have the Promethean Princess in the graveyard, but that's okay. It'll come back next turn, probably, when Oliver summons a monster. Unicorn and Kashtira Unicorn and Snake Eye Ash going to go in an IP Masquerade here. And then we're going to set 1 and pass. Ooh, we're going to Nibiru at the end, main phase. Going to tribute those two. That's going to trigger Snake Eye's Flamberge Dragon.
Nibiru is a big one here, but being able to use the Flamberge to summon 2 materials back.
The judge there providing a token as well.
Bringing back the Ash and Oak off. Now, both of these have used both their effects, so that's a little bit unfortunate in that regard, but now we have, you know, a bit more length fodder to be able to play through something. See maybe an SP Little Knight coming down here to banish that Nibiru.
Although it's just unfortunate that now the IP is in the graveyard now.
And we don't have that Flamberge on field to place it in the spell and trap zone as a continuous spell.
Then we've seen, obviously, Oliver's used 2 cards out of his hand. He'll be starting his hand with a 4-card turn. But Voiceless doesn't have to have a lot of cards to play, especially with those pre-prepper rights, and the Saphira being able to mostly combo by itself.
Particularly with that Nibiru on field providing tribute fodder.
Yeah.
10?
Level
10 light monster, I think.
11. Massive, regardless.
I think the token's 11. Regardless, we're going to sync her in, link summon into an SP Little Knight using a extra deck monster here, the Relinquished Anima, to banish that Nibiru to make sure that it can't be used as a tribute material this turn. Oliver going to draw a card, going to 4 cards in his hand. Ooh, Anti-Spell Fragrance, recently gone to 1 on the latest Forbidden Limiter list. This is a very powerful trap card. That's probably worth bringing up for those of you who don't know. Anti-Spell
Recently
Fragrance.
reprinted in Rarity Collection 2.
As a very nice quarter-century secret rare, and among other rarities.
Why your Rarity Collection 2 from General Games?
Yeah, host of this event and sponsor of our channel.
Shout out General Games Malvern.
And Frankston.
And Churnside Park, where we are.
Yeah. Definitely a real pillar for the Melbourne Victoria community for Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yep. So this anti-spell going to be putting in a lot of work.
Oh, snap.
Oh, man. So anti-spell here going to be putting in a lot of work. Obviously stopping any pre-preparation of riots or barriers that Oliver might want to activate. But Oliver, for now, is going to summon a Diviner of the Herald, normal summon. Going to be able to send a fairy to the graveyard. From deck or extra deck. Which, in this case, he could send an Elder Entity Entis from his extra deck to destroy the anti-spell. But it looks like he's going to go for the trace, which I must feel must be more worthwhile in this scenario.
Ryan not electing to activate the SP as well on the Diviner could have potentially stopped this, but obviously just depends what's in the hand of Oliver.
So Tree is going to tribute the Diviner, summoning itself out from the graveyard, banishing itself when it leaves the field, and now Diviner, when it's used as tributed, going to be able to summon a level 2 or lower fairy from the deck, which is obviously going to be low, the prayers of the Voiceless Voice.
Text back up for low.
Yeah.
We can see that it places one continuous spell or trap, meaning it can actually play under.
Gets around.
Yeah, it does definitely get around that anti-spell, which is very good. Going to be able to get that barrier. Now, SP is going to banish itself and the low, so that Oliver cannot use if a ritual were to occur this turn. Oliver cannot use that low as the full material, and also that Skull Guardian, because low isn't on the field currently, would not have that on negate. Now we're going to see Oliver activate the effect of Barrier, which was just placed off of low, the prayers of the Voiceless Voice. Probably to search out a Saphira, Dragon Queen of the Voiceless Voice. See what he grabs. Just thinking about all the potential lines, all the plays he can make. Looking at his hand, making sure he makes the most optimal choice, which is going to be that Saphira.
Again, a very powerful card by itself.
Yeah, definitely.
Being able to discard itself, give its own ritual fodder as well. But obviously, we still do need that load. The Trius Hierarchia is definitely good for being able to put the material on the board.
Yep. Now we're going to see that Saphira discarding itself for a cost, sending the prayers of the Voiceless Voice to the graveyard to add ritual monster, a light ritual monster that is a warrior or a dragon. Could be the Skull Guardian. It is going to be the Skull Guardian here. Can also add, the new Saphira.
Yeah, I have no clue what that card does, kind of.
Well, it does what the old Saphira does, but on summon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice and clean.
So it is able to, that new one is able to draw 2 cards and discard 1 or rip 1 from your opponent's hand.
very powerful.
Yep, can also grab and summon this Skull Guardian. So Saphira is going to banish itself from the graveyard to perform a tribute summon, tributing that Trius Hierarchia as the full cost for the Skull Guardian, which is banished when it leaves the field. And now Skull Guardian is on the field, which was a ritual summon. So it's going to be able to activate to search for another Voiceless Voice card or light ritual monster. So Oliver just confirming the stats of the Nibiru token. Sounds like it has 2,500 defense, so nothing to laugh at, but as we know, this Skull Guardian is 4,100 and it can beat directly over that token.
No low in the graveyard
Correct,
currently.
actually it
so
was
it's-
banished off SP. Yep, Skull Guardian is still 2050.
But we know that it will be coming back during the... Oh, where is the...
Yeah,
It was banished. Yeah.
SP. It's going to be returned to the field in the end phase. So Oliver going to set the most of his hand, which Ryan can assume. There's going to be a couple spells.
There's
Choose an
some
anti-spell.
old school Yu-Gi-Oh right there.
That certainly is, setting a lot of cards. Playing into the Heavy Storm.
Oh, okay, yeah, that one.
Yep, the one that doesn't exist.
That's right.
But yeah, Oliver knows he can safely set a bunch of cards here and doesn't have to worry about a Harpy's Feather Duster because of
To play
Ryan's
through the
own
own
anti-spell.
anti-spell.
Yeah. So now,
You never know as well, because you might have a Diabellstar to be able to send the
yeah,
that
which
spell.
is very good. We know that Oliver has opened the Trap card, which is going to be able to summon a Voiceless Voice monster or search it by shuffling back a ritual spell, ritual monster from the graveyard into the deck. Or is going to be able to destroy, going to be able to target cards on Ryan's field up to the number of light ritual monsters to destroy both the trap and the targets.
It's also noteworthy now that the low end of the Skull Guardian are now untargetable.
Due to that barrier, yeah. So Ryan going to perform a link summon of Nightmare Phoenix using the SP Little Knight and the Nibiru token. Thinking on the summon here. Summon successful. Ryan's going to pitch that Flamberge Dragon to destroy the barrier.
Pitching the Flamberge is massive here as well.
It's going to be able to trigger to summon back 2 level 1 fire monsters.
If he
Has 2 engraved.
has Ash and an Oak,
Does have the
but
oak,
the
yes.
Skull Guardian is going to be able to negate that, unfortunately.
Yeah. But we have dealt with that Skull Guardian negate, and now we see a barrier, which
Can't be activated because of anti-spell. We can bring that back up again. It points out that you can't activate spells until the player's next turn that set the spell, not the next player turn, which is a pretty wild one
although
there.
I think Oliver may have just flipped up the wrong card here, because obviously
a
continuous
trap.
spells can't be activated in your opponent's turn.
Nice.
But continuous traps definitely can. So we're going to shuffle back the Sol Ravus from our hand, searching or summoning a Voiceless Voice monster.
Usually going to be the old man.
Summoning and Sol Ravus from the deck. Now, Old Man does nothing on summon, but as we know, can chain to Ryan's effects to summon a light ritual monster from the deck. So another very powerful effect. And in doing so, puts itself back in the hand to be used next turn. Ryan going to activate the original Sinful Spoils graveyard effect, searching his deck for a level 1 fire, and then putting a Snake Eye back to the bottom of the
Or
deck.
even the Diabellstar, but putting that Flamberge back into the deck is definitely going to help a little bit more there.
Certainly. Now, Sorevis is going to summon Sorevis from the deck, the ritual monster. We know this is a very, very good card, as it is able to negate some summons. It's sitting here, applying a lot of pressure to the field currently. Normal summon Ash. Effect of Ash. Very, very powerful. I think I have the wrong cards here.
Going for that popular to activate the effect. Obviously, this Ravus can't negate the summon, but it's still going to be a lot to play under, meaning that going to any other link plays or possibly Synchro Xyz, whatever tickles your fancy, it will most likely not be hitting the board.
Plethora of lines that Ryan can do here. Really has so many options. Cards. Going to search that Divine Temple of the Snake Eye, which isn't going to be able to be activated currently under the anti-spell fragrance, but maybe Ryan has a Black Witch in hand, which is going to be able to send it, or he can send it with the Snake Eye Ash, to summon something from deck.
The Snake Eye engine is such a resilient engine to interruption and to anything that wants to interact with it.
Certainly,
you either have to, they have to brick and you have to hit the one choke point, or you need to be able to interact 4 or 5 times to really slow them and break up the play.
Now, Ryan has cleared the barrier of the Voiceless Voice, meaning if he uses Snake Eye Ash, sending the anti-spell to summon Flamberge, he can put that Sorevis, push it back into the spell and trap zone of Oliver as a continuous spell, and is then able to freely summon his link monsters without fear of them being banished.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which Ryan might be going to do. Flamberge Dragon. Could be Snake Eye. Could not be Snake Eye Oak. It's currently in the grave. Yep, so we're going to summon that Flamberge Dragon.
Again, such a powerful card.
Such a big body. 3,000 attack, 2,500 defense. Going to push that Sorevis back into the back row. Which, importantly, isn't going to be able to bounce itself now. So Oliver has less resources that he normally would have for next turn. Although the continuous trap card is going to give Oliver resources next turn too. There are a lot of things to consider for Ryan here.
Ryan's really got a hope here that he can just OTK, I believe. Giving the Voiceless another turn, I don't believe Ryan will be able to put up enough to contest even the Low or the Skull Guardian for the next turn.
Yeah. We currently only have Fire and Dark monsters, Link monsters in the graveyard, so an access code play here wouldn't be able to clear everything on the field. See what happens. Because Ryan knows that the card closest to the camera the set card lowest on Oliver's field is a barrier, as that was accidentally flipped earlier. So that could be one of Ryan's top priorities to attempt to clear this turn. Divine Temple of the Snake Eye going to be activated now, placing the Snake Eye Ash in the spell and trap zone as a continuous spell to be used and summoned when Oliver summons a monster.
Interesting not going to elect for the Snake Eyes Diabell Star.
Yeah, although I think he pitched it with the Black Witch on his first turn, I believe.
Yes, he did actually, yes.
But now the Poplar is able to place it in the spell and trap zone. And now, as we know, the Snake Eyes Diabell Star is going to be able to summon itself by placing a fire monster in the spell and trap zone.
Ryan going now for the Zelantis. Very interesting card. I remember the Draco Slayer players were playing at the start to keep on triggering their Ignister.
Yep.
But now just a OTK machine pretty much.
I do like Zelantis a lot. You know, it lets you trigger your El Shadol construct on summon multiple times in one turn.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you cannot trigger App Cologne multiple times in one turn. That would be very strong.
A little bit.
But, you know, Zealand is a good card. Link 4 being able to summon itself with one Link 4. Very cool.
I think right now that the writing is on the floor.
Yes.
The Zelantis being co-linked, being able to pop 2 monsters, the Princess being able to pop a card to summon, and that Phoenix is coming back down. Again, this play extremely powerful, and very few cards to make all of this. You could.
So for anyone who doesn't know what happened here, Zealantis has resummoned in face-down defense position the monsters on Oliver's side of the field, and also which has allowed Promethean Princess to trigger itself, popping a fire monster from Ryan's field and a monster on the opponent's field to summon itself. That will then trigger the Raging Phoenix in the graveyard as a fire monster was destroyed by battle. Sorry, destroyed. To summon itself and gain the attack of that monster.
Now, Ryan has gotten this. He's going into game 3 now. Obviously, Oliver might have liked to go first, playing his Voiceless Voice stratagem.
I think that's probably what's going to happen here. But yeah, Snake Eyes really showing how easy and powerful it is to OTK with such a strong engine. Looking through Oliver's deck right now, I think there was a Ghost Bell in there.
Yeah. Very interesting card to play this format.
Spears. You know, you always got to start that big welcome.
Yeah.
Can't be too careful.
True.
We do have some very good Labyrinth players here in Melbourne.
Some bad ones as well.
Yep, like me. But, you know, people to worry about. The cards in Oliver's deck, you know, just some standard hand traps.
The Bell's also
Engine.
good for the Wanted and the Flameberge as well.
Certainly. Flamberge is a very good card to stop. Can also stop Wanted itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While both players are sideboarding there, I want to shout out to chat. We have Nicholas Fu, Freedom and
Nick
Elrond
Fu, hello.
showing some love down there.
We miss you, Nick. We all miss you, Nick. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. We're welcome to round 2 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Victorian State Championships of 2024. In case you haven't heard, we've got 7 rounds of Swiss today before a top cut to top 8 tomorrow. But also tomorrow, we have a bunch of side events for players who didn't make the cut to play, such as a Starlight Rare Kurikara Div Incarnate tournament and, you know, a
Couple of win mats, yeah.
So for anyone who didn't make it, tomorrow's still going to be packed full of exciting things to take part in.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. We can cut over here as well. We can see the
now
players
we can
there,
see Jared.
Ryan and Olivia and
Hi, Jared.
Give us a little wave.
Jared there.
Came all the way from Sydney just to see us. A lovely floor judge currently, Jared. How is Jack acting like an adult with good vocabulary? Yep, it's very different to what I'm normally like, isn't it? But that's fine. So Oliver looks like he's finished side decking and is now shuffling up, ready for game 3. And Ryan is just finalizing his side deck now by the looks of it.
13 minutes remaining as well
Yep.
for this round, going into game
Could
3.
be a tight game. We've got Lucky I Lagged asking, did Oliver use the trapped pop?
No, so he used it to summon
the Old Man Soravis from the deck.
Ah, yes.
Which I will prepare to bring up for the next game, as well as some other cards that I lost. There we go. And there we go. Yeah, looking forward to an exciting game 3 here in round 2. Now we're ready. Ryan offering Oliver to cut his deck. Oliver doing the same. Thank you, Dalton. Now both players drawing their starting hand of 5 cards. You can assume Oliver's elected to go first this match, or this game, sorry. Makes sense for the Voiceless Voice strategy. Yeah, pretty good hand, I think, on Oliver's side. I see Pot of Prosperity, pre-prep. Saphira. Oh, wow.
Double
This is
Saphira.
Fenrir too. This is a very good hand from Oliver. Going to start with the special summon of the Kashtira Fenrir in attack position. Going to activate its effect to search another Kashtira monster. Probably in this deck, just another Fenrir. See what he grabs.
most likely just the
Yeah,
Fenrir
just another
here.
Fenrir, which is insane follow-up. by the
Yeah,
way. Very
absolutely.
good. Yeah. In case your field gets cleared, you know, slapping down another Fenrir is a very strong play.
Also being free ritual material as well, it can sometimes be relevant, being that nice level 7.
Yeah, New South Wales had a very big top cut. They had 16 players in their top cut.
Was that all on the same day, or was that spread
All on
across
the
two?
same day.
That is a. I mean,
I think
today
it
is
was
a
all on the
chonker of
same
a
day.
day.
Yeah, that is a lot of rounds.
Playing what 8 rounds and then 4 in top cut. Pretty
Yeah.
wild. 16.
Anyway, Oliver going to activate the Pot of Prosperity, banishing 6 cards from his extra deck face down for cost. Going to reveal Diviner, Skull Guardian. I think that's Prez, the Voiceless Voice.
Yeah.
There's a Trius there too, I think. Bit of glare, I can't really tell. There's another Ritual monster there.
We'll see what he goes for.
Now let's see what he grabs. You can see that he's got 2 copies of Severa, the Dragon Queen of the Voiceless Voice, in his hand. the
goes
pre-prep
flat.
as well. So he's got a lot. Going to grab the Diviner, the Herald. Lovely level 2 light fairy. Very powerful normal summon effects.
From Lightning Overdrive.
Yeah.
I was going to play this in my Necro stratagem, and then I decided to actually play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex saying that the all in one day, top cut finishing at 10:30. Wow.
Wow,
That's
yeah,
pretty
that
late.
is rough.
Starting an hour late too. That's quite unfortunate. Oliver just thinking about his plays here. Going to discard the Saphira to activate its effect to send a Prayers of the Voiceless Voice ritual spell.
Okay.
Which
Dumping that and going for the Skull Guardian.
blessing. I'm just trying to find the spell to bring up. There we go. Prayers of the Voiceless Voice ritual spell. Very good ritual spell. So, obviously, can ritual summon any light ritual monster, but also, when your opponent outs one of your light ritual monsters with a card effect, you can banish it from your graveyard to summon another copy of the same card from your deck. So if you do manage to out that Skull Guardian, just bring out another one straight away. Apply a lot more pressure. It's very strong. Going to use the Saphira, Tributing Saphira, and another card here
What
to
was
summon the Skull Guardian.
the level of Saphira?
Saphira is level 6, so it doesn't quite
Okay.
make up the level 7 for Skull Guardian, so there had to be another monster there. I'm not quite sure what it was. Oh, it's probably just that Fenrir. No, that wouldn't make sense, because Fenrir is a level 7.
Yeah.
Regardless,
Oh, it
Skull
was
Guardian.
the Diviner from the hand.
Oh, which is going to be able to special summon the low from the deck. That's really good.
Yeah.
And then Skull Guardian is going to search the Soravis. Low effect is going to be able to place a continuous spell or trap of the Voiceless Voice variety. 3 options to choose from now. Blessings, Barrier, and the trap card, which I've probably forgotten the name of. We'll see
Going
it
for
come
that
up in a bit
trap.
there. Yep, getting that trap out. Very powerful card. 2 different effects, both locked into the main phase. One adds you more follow-up, one destroys your opponent's cards. Very, very strong. Gonna bring that one up here just so we all know what it does. Yep, so during the main phase, you can activate one of these effects. Shuffle 1 light ritual monster, either a warrior or a dragon, or a ritual spell from your hand or graveyard into the deck. So add more follow-up and recursion back into your deck, and then add or special summon a Voiceless Voice monster from your deck. Note this cannot summon Skull Guardian because it is not a ritual summon. Alternatively, during the main phase, you can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of light ritual, warrior or dragon monsters you control, and destroy both the radiance of the Voiceless Voice and the targeted cards on your opponent's field. So yeah, very, very powerful interaction, particularly when you might have 2, 3 light rituals on the field. Destroying a lot of cards, yeah.
Usually you would expect at least 2, especially with the new ritual
Barrier.
spell as well. Yeah.
Not barrier, sorry,
Well,
blessing
barrier,
of the Voiceless
exactly.
Voice. Going to activate in response to the barrier here. Sorry, Ryan's turn now. Going to start with imperming the Fenrir. Which is going to be bait out the Soravis. Ooh. That is quite a
Subversion
card.
of the Snake Eye, I believe. A very good card. The first of the Snake Eyes to actually come out in a Duelist Nexus.
Yeah, it came out a while ago.
Yeah.
This card is able to push back one of your opponent's cards. Any card back into the spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. It is like its own Flambeau's Dragon. So pushing back that Fenrir there. Response to that, we have used the Radiance of the Voiceless Voice, shuffling a ritual spell or a ritual monster back to summon out to the Soravis Sage.
Oh, and here comes the talent. A very powerful card.
Wow, triple tactics talents. I wonder what effect we've chosen. Matter because it's going to be responded to with the Skull Guardian to negate it. But triple tactics talents obviously able to non-target take control, snatch steal, draw 2 cards, pot of greed, or confiscation.
Yeah, the shuffle. Yeah, confiscation. Yeah,
Confiscation. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that card was
3
made
banned
before.
cards in one.
Yeah, confiscation was before we were born. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. 3. All those cards were actually,
yeah,
at least for me.
yeah. Well, I was like, well, it probably existed. I don't know.
Oh no. around the time we were born. Regardless, very old cards, all banned, and now we have them in one card: Triple Tactics Talents.
Okay.
From Rise of the Duelist back in 2020, a very powerful set. Despite this, we're going to see the normal summon Snake Eye Ash, going to search the Snake Eye Poplar. Poplar now going to summon itself after it's been searched, and when it's summoned, going to activate the effect to search a Snake Eye spell or trap.
Got Simon there just questioning if a monster was activated for talents to be used.
The Soravis was summoned. Activated to protect the Fenrir.
That's right, yes, from the Imperm.
Yeah. Everything here is currently a legal play. I'd hope so, at least. Going to link 1 into Relinquish Anime using that Poplar. Poplar going to activate to place itself in the spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. What did Ryan search with the Poplar? Was it the field spell?
I believe it was the original. We'll have a look. I believe he's activating it now.
See whatever. Yep.
Yeah.
Original
There we
simple
go.
spoils Snake Eye, sending the Poplar that just placed itself back, free body, to summon a level 1 fire from the deck.
Let's hope it's something a little bit spicy.
Would be the Snake Eye Oak here. Make sense to me.
Thank you there, Simon. We do appreciate chat keeping us and the players honest. We also do have a table judge here for the duration of the stream.
Simon, obviously a very respected judge in the Victorian, in fact, the Australian community in general. Shout out Simon. Going to summon that Oak off of that original Simple Spoils. Going to activate the Oak effect, summoning a Flambeau's Dragon. Flambeau's Dragon, as we know, very good. Keeps getting lost in my tabs here. There we go. I have too many tabs open currently, but we'll just bring it up again. We're going to link it off straight away. I don't know why I brought it up.
That's right.
Regardless.
It looks pretty card. We like seeing it.
Yep. Going to link it off into a Nightmare Phoenix again. Phoenix going to probably pop the barrier here by discarding a card on summon. But first, we'll probably be using the Snake Eyes Flambeau's Dragon to summon back 2 level 1 bodies. Here, this is going to be the Snake Eye Oak and Snake Eye Poplar.
Big decisions here. If he's going to Soravis now on the Nightmare Phoenix, so it cannot pop the continuous spell.
Yeah.
Obviously, those 2 bodies are still coming, as well as a Nemesis
Here
flag.
we have a Nemesis flag. Now, this is part of Ryan's super secret technologies this weekend. This is a Pyromonster, so it's going to be searched with Bonfire, but more importantly, this is going to search now Arch Nemesis Protos, which is a very powerful card that just came off the Forbidden and Limited list back to 1 copy. For those of you who don't know, Protos cannot be normal summoned to sets. It can be special summoned from your hand by banishing 3 monsters with different attributes from your graveyard or field. So quite easy to do with Snake Eye, you know. And then, whilst on the field, it cannot be destroyed by card effects. Additionally, you can call an attribute that is currently on the field, destroy all monsters on the field with that attribute, and until the end of the next turn, your opponent cannot summon monsters with that attribute. So very powerful floodgate that Ryan has just brought out.
What was that Link monster that he went into to go into the Princess?
I'm not sure. I wasn't really paying
Was it the
attention.
Phoenix?
No,
The Phoenix was banished. It could have been a heater. What else? Could have been an SP, quickly. Maybe an IP.
Can't imagine you would burn the SP for that.
No. There we go. There's the Protos coming down. Probably going to call Light here. That would be very strong.
powerful card. Very
but
insane.
the writing seems to be on the wall here, from my point of view. Not sure what's in Oliver's hand, but Ryan does seem to have game here on field. All the interaction on the field has currently been spent. Does have that Prayers of the Voiceless Voice in the
Link
graveyard
to
worry about.
Reptile, the new one apparently.
They won't be able to summon anything because of the Protoss.
Link to Reptile. Oh, of the Ragnarok variety, perhaps. Maybe. I'm trying to think of any other Link to Reptiles that have just came out.
I'm sure that's the only one. I read it very briefly. But yeah.
Of Ryan's
Destroy
secret tech right
all
there.
light monsters on the field.
And
I'm
now
going
he's-
to prevent Oliver from summoning them in his turn. Going to proceed to the battle phase. An attack for game. So
There
Oliver
we
goes
have
there
it.
and surrenders. Ryan Nelson, our Snake Eye Kashtira pilot, has managed to win the game 3 of this match and won round 2, proceeding to a 2-0 record now. What a good match that was.
A very
That was
good game.
exciting.
I was honestly very scared for Ryan, passing with just the SP and the one face down.
Yep.
But definitely being able to take it back with that Nemesis flag as well. Very powerful card. Especially, I believe I saw the Banshee in his extra deck, the rank 4.
So that was a very good match. That was a very tough board for Ryan to crack. You know, we saw a Soravis targeting protection. We saw a Soravis negate summon. The barrier targeting prevention, and this Skull Guardian Negate. Very, very strong field from Oliver, but Ryan managed to push through it with very, very complicated lines there. And OTK.
One of the joys of getting to watch Ryan play when he comes into locals is seeing just like what looks like a standard deck to start with, and then some of that weird tech being pulled out. It's a joy to watch. It's one of the things that makes the game interesting, I think. Even when the meta seems to be the same few decks kicking around, everyone's got their own little take, their own little secret tech.
Haggard Lizardos. Thank you, Simon. That is the card. Let's bring it up right now, because I
I
have never read this card. Probably a comment out of Legacy. Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's read it together, chat. 2 monsters with different names.
Right under Destin's nose there.
Can you sniff it?
I don't want to.
Probably it looks smelly.
Yeah.
2 monsters with different names. Link 2 Water Reptile, 800 attack. You can banish 1 monster from your face-up field or graveyard with 2,000 or less attack, so any of the Snake Eye level 1s, and then target 1 face-up monster on the field. Make its attack become equal to that monster's attack that you banished to activate the effect to the next turn. Then if you banish a monster that was originally Reptile, draw 1 card. Wow. Pretty good card.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Ryan had any reptiles in his graveyard to banish. He can explain why. So we'll get him on in a second, and he might be able to explain why for us.
All right, we'll cut back in a moment. We'll bring Ryan on as long as he's happy to do so.
Yep.
We'll have a very quick chat, and then we'll break before game 3.
Yep. All right, Ryan Nelson.
Hello.
Round 2 feature match winner. How was it?
It was pretty crazy. I got very lucky in game 3 there, drawing talents. I had to draw droplet or talents, and I drew talents. But it's also weird because if he just doesn't Saravis at all, maybe I just can't win. Because if I have no way to force a monster effect, there's no way I can win. And also the Phoenix discard Flamberge. No, the Phoenix summon in that last turn is like, he could let it through, but then like Flamberge triggers, so it's still a bit weird for him. But definitely some luck involved. And yeah, game 1 I just bricked because I drew Snake Eye Bellstar and Parallel Exceed I couldn't summon. I didn't have a normal summon in game 1. I think if I have a normal summon in game 1, I should be alright. But yeah, and game 2 is just prayed to the anti-spell gods. And the anti-spell gods worked.
They worked.
Yeah.
We managed to
man.
push through there, keeping in our Protoss going second.
Yeah, because you can obviously nuke the board of lights. So sometimes if you just hard draw it, so you have to assume maybe you like, you know, best case is you like Ghost Ogre them, then you get like a Fire and a Dark, and then you can just drop it. And then, you know, I play Bonfire and Banshee and Parallel Exceed because I like those cards a lot because I didn't like that Bonfire sometimes in Snake Eye is a bit redundant. So I like having a good second search target for Bonfire, which is Nemesis Flag. And essentially the Nemesis cards are always live because of the Link 2 that I summoned, that the Reptile. You just more or less, you just like...
Do you want to show us that Link 2?
Yeah.
Explain the thought process. What's the reptile that you banish with?
I mean, no, you don't really.
No
like, you can banish like any monster out of your grave, right? You just need to banish a reptile to draw. So obviously your Nemesis Flag needs a card banished.
Yep.
So you just banish anything.
Oh, okay.
So you pretty much always live. Like you're never dead off the Nemesis cards, which is really, really, really important. I guess the other niche case of this card is sometimes you just have extra monsters. So then, yeah, you can just banish it and draw a card.
Yep.
Or the most, the second most useful would be like, special Fenrir, and then like search a unicorn. Normal Ash, and then Ash gets hand trapped. So then you can link into this, banish your field, and draw a card, and then you can obviously summon your unicorn because your board's empty.
Yep.
But yeah, I just really liked the main point of Protoss is, I don't think you need it, but it was very nice in testing the Tempai just to call fire. Like, you just have many auto-win. Like, just because my deck has more push than most, because I play Parallel Exceed and Souls and Kashtira as well. Like, I just have a lot of push.
Yeah,
so
so
sometimes...
Do you want to bring out the cards that allow you to push through crazy boards?
I mean,
crazy
yeah,
boards?
so... Let's see. Obviously,
Got
canvas
the
over there, right?
Nemesis flag
Yeah.
here to search the Protoss.
So I want to put like Poplar there because like it's really good with. So obviously Parallel Exceed's crazy. Like the only issue is the extra deck gets a bit crazy because you need to play Almirage because you need to be able to normal summon stuff
And then link,
it off to trigger your Parallel Exceed. Which is a bit unfortunate. I don't play Dark Charmer as a result.
Oh, wow.
I had to make a cut.
That's a big
but that's just like evidence-based analysis, like just results-based analysis, where I was just never summoning Dark in like a billion games. So I'm like, whatever, I'll cut it out. So yeah, Souls is good because like if you have Souls and Poplar, then you obviously Souls for Sangadia Bellstar.
Yep.
Then when Poplar goes to the grave later on, you can place Steer Bellstar. So it's like 3 monsters from your 2 monsters, obviously. So, you know, if your Poplar gets hand trapped, you have good follow-up.
Yep.
And like it's just insane, like nuts follow-up. And then yeah, you can make boards where you call Dark sometimes. You can make boards where you call Fire, and you just end on like, you know, you can have Harbinger, Apo, and call Fire, right?
Yeah.
Very common. Or just, you know, Apo IP, call Fire, Apo SP, call Fire, and there's like no way Tempai can win most of the time. Like the only times they've won against me in testing is when they just have like board wipes and Fenrir, and they're able to keep me off it. But yeah, it's, you know, current Snake Eye is a bit of a game of poker, unfortunately, where you just you're trading hand traps and interactions, and then, you know, I like having the additional cards in my deck that help me push, because I think you can, because it's a weird logic because you increase your deck size to, you know, it's 53 cards, which is, you know, in theory it's bad, but, you know, I'm increasing my deck size to increase my range of options to maybe, you know, give me the chance to open hands where I can do like 3 things instead of one or 2 things. Mm-hmm. So I can beat the standard, you know, 1, 2, 3 hand trap. And even sometimes you beat 1, 2, 3 hand trap because it's like, oh, I drew Parallel Exceed, I drew Souls, I have extra monster, now I can Promethean back the Snake Eye and then send and then summon, right? Yeah, it's just, crazy. So I'm just using powerful cards that I want to use, and, you know, luckily it paid off. And I guess the ultimate realization of the deck was, yeah, the Link to Lizard just always makes Nemesis cards live. So, yeah.
I've seen a lot of people refer to Snake Eyes Diabellstar as the like new best card in their deck because it's so crazy to get off Temple and then bring out and then set the Flamberge. How do you feel about that? Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. Yeah. I agree it's crazy. Like,
best
it's
card in the deck?
Absolutely mandatory. I mean, not best card in the deck, but it definitely completes it.
Yep. And,
you know, level 8 for Harbinger, Spellcaster for Selene, free extender in a billion spots,
makes the field
send it off
extender.
Souls.
That's a big
yeah. It's completely crazy, man. Like, super powerful engine cards.
We'll have to cut it off because our next round will be starting very soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us, Ryan. Thanks for being on stream.
Thank you very much. Happy I clutched it out. Because it got a bit dicey there. Had to gamble a bit.
It was close.
So, yeah. All right.
Cool. We'll cut to a break and then we'll be right back.
Thank you.